Hello. Okay. Okay, guys, we are live. So, hello everyone. I'm Harshal Jain, and today we will continue. We are going to continue with the day three of our fitness project. So, in the day one, we created the home page. In day two, we created the inner page. You can see that if I click on this, it would take me to the inner page. Okay, so this is my uh, page where I get the exercises. Now we have one more page that is for the reports. Okay, for example, if I click here, this is for the day. For example, calorie intake is this and target is this. Target would be, I would say that right now I'm assuming the body mass index, and according to that we'll give the target. Okay, this is your daily calorie target. You have to take it this way. Okay, so now if I click on show report, you can see that you would get some calorie report. This would be some kind of graph. We're going to show some kind of graph. This might change later on, but right now I've just shown some kind of graph. And one more thing, you can see I'm getting this pop-up. So I've created this pop-up using the normal logic which we have in React.js. And what will the person do is add the food item name, amount, and if they want to delete something which they have added previously on the same date, they can definitely delete this from here. Okay, so I think this is it, and if they want to add something, they can definitely add this. I think we must add one more field, that is the time field, because the time might be different. Okay, it's not necessary to be like I added the data right now, but it's not compulsory that I eat it the same thing right now. Maybe I ate it that maybe last hour or 5 hours ago. Okay, it's like that. So we'll also add one time field also, but I think rest everything is fine. And for designing, we are also going to use material UI, some parts of material UI, so that it looks cool and things are done easier. Okay, so one more thing here, you can see in last day we actually created the pop-up for login sign up similar to this, but we forgot to add the close button. For example, if you go here, you can see this is the login, this is the sign up. So you can see yeah, this looks fine, but if I close this, so right now it's closing, but right in the last video we couldn't do this because we had no time. Okay, so today we'll complete that. We'll pass props from the navbar to this pop-up. Okay, so let's continue now. And before continuing, what you can do is let's first of all go to the repository. Okay, so here I have provided my complete source code, and in the description you would find the link for this repository, that is github.com/VIRA014. Okay, you can check out the description, you will find the link, and from that you can visit this page. Okay, so here what you have to do is you can check out my profile also, you can follow me here, and you can check out my other profiles, that is Instagram or LinkedIn. Okay, and in the repository section you would find we have fitness freak 3x. Okay, so this is for the front end, that is Next.js. Okay, so you would see the front end here, and the complete source code for day 2 till day 2 is actually available here. Today I'll upload the source code at the end of this video. I'll upload the source code here. Okay, so you'll get the complete source code throughout, right? So you can also mark it as a star, and if you don't find this, you can simply search the name here, right? So now everything is fine. One more thing, guys, in the description you'll find a link of a course provided by Geeks4Geeks, that is for MERN stack. So those of you who are interested in learning MERN stack, you can definitely check out this course, and please check out the content first of all, that we are going to start from the basics then till the advanced level of MERN stack. Okay, so anyone of you is interested can purchase this course, right? So now let's continue. And okay, okay, now we'll continue. So if you have any of your doubts, you can mention that on the live chat also. I'll be looking for that. Okay, I'll be looking side by side. And someone actually asked me for a complete session for this. गाना बजने लगा था यार. Okay, so someone actually asked me for a complete MERN stack deployment. So for example, if they want to deploy the front end part, that is in Vercel, and the backend part is in Node.js, so how do you deploy it in the internet? How to deploy that? So we are going to create a special session for that, and in a few days we're gonna schedule that. Maybe 3-4 days we're gonna schedule that. So you would find that in the same channel, Geeks for Geeks development channel, and that session is going to be specially dedicated for the deploying part of all the projects which we have done in the 3x. I'll just give you a hint how actually you deploy these things for free, okay, for free, no charges required. Okay, Amisha Nepal, good evening. Good evening, Amisha. How are you? Right. धार्मिक जैन वाई बनाओगे मतलब मतलब okay, okay, you mean what I have shown you here, right? Yes, the part which I have shown you right now, it's the thing which we are going to create today. Okay, this is the thing which we are going to create today. This is the page and then the edit section, and this is also working. I mean, this is the front end part. We haven't added with the backend. We are gonna create the backend. Okay, it is working in last. The front end is working. We haven't added the backend, so we have to add the backend. All right. Right, so we are going to create this. We haven't created this till now, but I have shown what's the exact thing which you are going to do today. Okay, so let's do that, and we are going to start with the project. So I'm simply going to open the fitness project. Okay, right, guys. So this was our folder which we were working on since last day. Okay, this was the folder, and here I'm going to simply say this is the front end. Okay, so I'll say open front end, and let's rename it to front end. Okay, now I'll simply type npm run dev, and here also we are going to install a few things. So let's begin. And first of all, you can see it would start in 3001 port because in 3000 something else might be running. Okay, so I'll type localhost 3001 and it's there. So first of all, first thing which we need to do is you can simply go to navbar, and we have to actually add the close functionality to our auth pop-up. Okay, right now you can see this is the property for opening the prop. Okay, what we did was if it's false, you won't show the auth pop-up, but if it was true, we were showing the auth pop-up. But inside the auth pop-up, we have to add a close button. Okay, so that must match with this set show pop-up. So you'll pass this set show pop-up as a property to this component. Okay, so we are gonna do that. It's very easy. Okay, like some people might be confused how to pass props. It's very easy. फाइन सर जी, आप कैसे हो? मैं भी बढ़िया हूँ. कट रही है बस. Okay. So here itself, if you want to pass any property, I'll just say set show. Let me just check the name. Okay, this is the exact name. Okay, so I'll just say set show pop-up. I'll just pass this as a property to the pop-up component. Okay, now I'll go inside the pop-up component, and here we have to add a TypeScript interface so that it identifies it. Okay, so here itself I'm going to say that the type of this prop which we are sending is inside the interface. First of all, I've just created the interface. Inside this you can see I've called set show pop-up. Okay, I have sent set show pop-up here. I have just defined the type. If there is something named as set show pop-up coming from somewhere, it would be of this type. Okay, so you just need to write it this way because this is for hooks. Okay, this is for hooks, use state hook. Okay, so you just have to pass this, and now I'll just say that similarly you're just going to say that the auth pop-up would be following this interface. First of all, it would be performing, it would be using this interface for TypeScript. That means this is the first type, and here you have simply said that this is the thing which would be coming from that page, and the type of this is actually taken from here. Okay, so you have to mention the type so that things are working fine in TypeScript. So we have set show pop-up here. That means initial, if it's true, then this is shown. If this is true, then this is shown. Now you know that this is true, set show pop-up is true. So we'll create a close button inside this. On clicking on that, we'll simply say set show pop-up as false. That means this component would automatically be hidden after that. Okay, so let's do that. So here itself, I'm gonna first of all, I'm gonna use an icon from React icons. This is a close icon, so you can check out React icons, and from that you can import things. From previous videos we were using it, so I won't repeat again and again how to install things. Okay, so now I would just create a button inside this button itself. Inside the form, you can see we have two forms here. So in both of the forms, we actually need to show the close button. Okay, so for that, what you can do is you can simply add that close button here. Either you can add it here or you can add it at the top. That's up to you. So what I'll do is I'll just add it at the top so that it's fine. So you can see I've added it at the top, and I'm just going to say at the end of this, we are just going to say that we have the pop-up, right? So inside the pop-up we have the close. Okay, so again, right now if I take you to the page, you can see if I click on login, you can see right now I'm getting this button. Okay, I'm getting this button, but I would simply say that the position of this would be absolute, and from top it would be 10, from left from right it would be this. Okay, so now let's go to login, and you can see I'm getting the close button here. And I also want to add a border radius of 50%. That means I want a circle. So I think this looks fine. So you can see I've added this. One more thing which you can do is line height as 0 so that it's proper circle. So you can see it's proper circle. Now I'm simply going to say, when you click on this, I'm simply going to say set show pop-up as false. Okay, so whenever you click on this, you can see now it's gone. Okay, if you click on this, pop-up is true. If you click on this, pop-up is false, right? So that's how it works proper way, and you can see it works perfectly. Okay, you can instead of adding it here, you can add it inside auth form also. That works. So here you can see, here itself I have added it inside auth form, whatever you like, but I think this looks fine, it's easier. Okay, so now we are going to create the inner page. Okay, so right now I'm going to assume that right now we are just going to create the intake, gallery intake, but similarly you can add more, you can do different pages, you can add the same style for different pages. Right now we are just going to assume that we only have one page. Okay, so we are going to first of all create the report page. Okay, so inside this, suppose if I click on this, I want to go to the route, suppose slash report slash calorie intake, for example. So let's do that. So now I'll close everything, and now let's go to home banner 1, and this is the show report button. Here you would say that if someone clicks on this button, I'm going to take that user to some route. Okay, right. So I'm simply going to say that if someone clicks on this, I'm going to take the user to this route slash report slash item name. Item name is what? Item name is actually the thing which the card value. Okay, for example, the item name for the first card is calorie intake. Similarly, name for the second card is sleep, third card is step. Similarly, okay, so that's what I'm passing to the component. So right now if you click on this, it would actually take you to this page. Okay, right now we haven't created this page, so we have to create this. Okay, so let's create this page by simply saying that inside app, let's say we have a folder named as report. Okay, so inside report we are going to say that we have a dynamic folder named as type. Inside this type would be replaced with what? This type would be replaced with my text, whatever name it is, calorie intake or sleep or whatever it is. That's how route would be replaced. Now here I am just going to say we have page.tsx. Okay, so page.tsx RAFCE, and here itself I'm going to use a few things. So let's add that. Right. So guys, I have to add one CSS file. So I'm simply going to say we have report page.css. Inside this we'll add the CSS, and apart from that we are going to initially we don't have that much components, but right now let's create one component, and I'm just going to say that let's create a folder for all report forms. Okay, that means for all the pop-ups. For example, if you want to edit the calories, you would get a specific form for calories. Similarly steps, similarly different things. Okay, so right now you would just say that report form pop up. Okay, inside this let's create our first pop-up, which is calorie intake. Okay, calorie intake. Now inside this I'm gonna create a file, TypeScript file named as calorie intake pop up. ठीक है, pop up dot tsx. Okay, tsx. Okay, and one more css file which would be common for all pop-ups here. So I'm just going to say that the file name is suppose popup.css file. So you can see that's it. So this is the file and this is the main css file for this. Okay, similarly you are going to create different folders for different kind of pop-ups, that is steps and different kind of things which we have in the reports. Right now let's create the first report example for calorie intake. So we have the calorie intake pop-up, and right now I'm just going to say RAFC. This is taken from ES7 plus extension which we are using in VS Code. Okay, so you can see we got the shortcut. Now we have things here, so let's close everything. We are inside the report folder, type folder. Inside this we have page.tsx. Here itself I'm going to import a few things. So for importing a few things, I'm just simply going to say that these are the few things which we are going to use. Right now you can see that these fields are not there. Why they are not there? Because we haven't installed them. So first thing guys, which is actually right now I have to actually change this to, I think there is some naming problem. So I'll just say calorie intake slash calorie intake pop-up. Yes, this is done, and React icons is already installed. Apart from this, we need line chart from MUI charts. Okay, so let's go to the MUI charts and we have to install that. So MUI charts, and you would get the MUI chart library. So here it is. So you just have to install this. Just copy this and I would just split it and I would just paste it. Now it's pasted. One more thing which you need to install is that in the introduction part, hi Daddy Bobby. In the introduction part, we have to actually go to the installation part. Okay, I think for the installation, yes, you have to click here and you have to install Material UI also. So previously we were using Joy UI, that is also available in Material UI, but this is something extra. Okay, this is specific to Material UI because in Joy UI we didn't had the charts or graphs. So for using the charts and graphs, you have to use this. Okay, so you can create your own charts and graphs because that's also great, but that would actually take a lot more time, and we don't have that much time to design our own graphs, and it's a very complicated thing. So it's better to use this because at the end you just have to create a chart or a graph. Okay, so why not use a component? So we get the components from here. So yeah, here you have to install this. So just copy this and paste it. Okay, fine. So we have installed the styles from MUI and we have also installed this line chart from Xcharts. Okay, fine, that's it. So I think this is it what we needed to install. Guys, one more thing which we need to install is React horizontal date picker, which we are going to use. Okay, so React horizontal date picker, and you can visit the first one. Okay, just remember this name because this name might change. Okay, so just remember this name, and this is the exact package. We have the package. Okay, now I'm going to install this. Just install this. This is also installed. Now what you have to do is you can use this in anywhere. Okay, so we'll use that later on, but yeah, this is for the reference. You will be using this for the reference. Okay, important. So now I'll close this, and you can also check the properties also. These are the properties. This is for reference, right? So now I'll use my own code for that. So that's it. So now we're going to continue with this page. So first thing inside this is for the report. For example, we are viewing the calorie intake report. Okay, so we can show data according to like 10 days, 30 days, 1 year, or for the current day. Okay, I think 4 graphs would be required, and you can actually create a select option for that also, but right now I'm just gonna show 4 graphs. For now, just I'm going to show 4 graphs. Okay, so I'll just say that inside this I'll show you the website also. Just go back to the MUI charts, and here you have the lines. So just go to the lines one and you can check this also. Okay, you can just expand this and you'll know how to actually use this. You can make your own customization. You'll know how to use this, and it's very easy to use. Okay, if you have some kind of problem with this, you can definitely ask me in the live chat or mention that in the comment section. but yeah, it's damn easy. You would be habitual with that if you use it for a while. Okay, so yeah, right now you can see we have already imported this. Now we have to just use the line chart. So for example, if I just copy this and if I paste it here, and right now let's give it a class. Okay, first of all, I'll just give this a class of, for example, report page. Okay, so I'll just give this a class of report page, and you can see I've imported the report page CSS. Let's go to report page CSS. Here itself, I'll say that it would be taking the whole page and background color white. Everything would be in flex and center. So here you would see, right, I'm just getting a very small chart and it looks fine. It looks fine. So you can see I've simply pasted it, and you can define the width and height as per your demand. What I'm gonna do is, instead of this, I'll just define chart params here at the top. We don't need any kind of margin, so I've uncommented it, but if you want, definitely you can add it. Now I'll just say that instead of the details, we are simply going to call chart params. Okay, so it's the same thing, but just I've just saved some space. Okay, now we are going to talk about x-axis. X-axis, that is this part, and what is the data inside graph. Okay, so it would be inside the series. So right now I'm going to assume that, for example, I am going to assume that we have a chart named as S1. Okay, S1, that means section 1. I've just assumed that S1. So I'll just say const get data for S1. Okay, so this is the function which we are going to use, asynchronous function, right? And let's create a hook for that. So I'll just say const data S1. Okay, so I've just created a hook for that, and I'm going to get three things. What things actually? So first of all, you can see this is for the x-axis, so I have to get x-axis data. That means, for example, if I want to get 30 days data, so x-axis would be 1 2 3 4 up to 30. Okay, similarly, data would be what? Data would be the values. Okay, so this is for only for the values. So I'm going to say that inside this, one array would be created. I mean, some arrays would be there, multiple arrays would be there. One array would be for x-axis, one array would be for series. Okay, similarly, you can create this for y-axis also, but we actually uh, like automatically generate y-axis. Okay, automatically y-axis would be generated in our case in this line chart. Today we started with report page. Yes, we actually started with the report page, and we are also going to start with the backend once we get time today. Okay, so we have get data for S1, and I've created the hook. So let's assume that this is the kind of data which we are getting. Okay, from the backend, I'm going to assume that this is the kind of data which we are getting. So you can see this is an array. You can get multiple arrays, but right now I've assumed that I'm getting some days of data. Okay, right now I've not assumed it for only 10 days or 30 days, and I've just gotten some days of data. Okay, just for saving time. Okay, just some days of data, just a few sample objects, and this is I'm going to show for now in every graph. So right now you can see this is the date. Actually, I must change the date to something else. I can say today is what, 28 September, right? So 28 September, and day is what, Thursday. So guys, you can say Thursday. I think for Thursday it's, yes, THU, and I'll just say that it's 28 September. And for example, I'm assuming that date would come in this format. Okay, so I'm just changing the date, and right now I'm assuming that date is coming in this format. Okay, I think the time would be not really sure what kind of time we would get. Let's see what kind of time we can actually get. So if I type new date, I'm assuming that from backend, I'm assuming that data would be saved in that format. Date would be saved in that format. So let's see what it actually gives us. So temp, and I've just changed the first object. And after this, I'll just say that let's print the temp, and what else? Right now I'm just setting it. Okay, just for example, and I've just want to first of all change the date. So I've simply, whenever this page loads, just get the data. Okay, just get the data. So I'm getting the data, and now let's see how the date looks exactly. So if I inspect this console, and actually if you go to the console, if you reload, you're getting some data. You can getting some data, and here you can see I actually get date in this format. That is for India. Okay, right now this is the standard India time. Okay, so I'm going to get date, assuming that date is saved in this format. Okay, date is saved in this format. Okay, so I think that's it, and you have to just make the same thing. Okay, fine. So similarly, you would be getting different dates. For example, here for the second object, why am I not following this object method? Because of what? Because of actually this is only showing us day, month, year. Okay, we are not getting the complete thing. So for getting the complete thing, we actually have to add the complete date as well as the time as well as the zone. Okay, so yeah, you can see that Thursday. So before that, for example, we had Wednesday. Okay, so this would be supposed for Wednesday, and similarly, you would be getting data for what? One more day before. So okay, and similarly, I'm going to get data for just a minute, guys. Sunday. Fun quote. Laughing emoji. Ha ha ha. Right. So I have added 10 days of data for now. I have assumed that this is the 10 days of data along with the date, time, and the value and the unit. Okay. You can get more data also like target and different kind of things. But right now I've assumed that this is the data for the chart which I want to show. Okay. So we have simply set the data, and now I'll just come back. Okay. Now I'll simply say that inside this data you can see I'm only sending the values, for example 2000 calories, 3000 calories, 4000 calories. I'm only sending the values, right? So if we are only sending the values, so we have to just create a specific array which only has the values. So I'll just say that data, let's say our array name is for line chart S1. Okay, line chart. Okay, for example, and I'm just going to map that data only with the values. Okay, so I'll just say that let value equals, and since your values is right now, you can see values are actually in the form of, for example, if your values are in the form of numbers, so you have to convert it into string because data is always given in the form of string to the chart. It's, yeah, it is what it is. Okay, you have to give it that way. So you have to stringify the item value. So you'll just say item value. So now your number calorie, if your calorie is in number not in string, you just make it a string. You're just making it a string and you'll just return it. Okay, so just return the value. So now you just have an array which only contains the calories. Okay, only contains the calories. Similarly, you would be saying that you have an array which actually has your date. Okay, so you'll just say which only has your date. So the x-axis would directly take things in this way. So you just have to pass the date which you have, item dot date. You don't need to convert it into a string because we are passing a date. Okay, so we have just converted a normal string of date into an object of date and we are simply returning it. So we have an object of dates. This is the complete array which contains all the objects. Okay, so now we have the dates, we have the, why not const? Good question. You can make it const, it's up to you. But yeah, that's totally up to you. It's not compulsory to use let or const. That's totally up to you. Const is for making constants, like you can use const here itself. It's not compulsory. Okay, so it's a very silly question. You can use it on your, if you don't have that much knowledge, please भाई पहले जावास्क्रिप्ट अच्छे से सीखो तुम लोग. So I'll just say that now after this we have the x-axis. Okay, we have the data which we want to show inside the graph. So I'll just say set data s1. Inside this we are just going to have a few key value pairs. So first of all, what's the data? So data is obviously coming from that array. Okay, so data is obviously coming from that array. That means this is what I want to show inside the graph. Now I'll just say my graph's title, my chart's title is, for example, calorie intake. Okay, so I'll just say 1 day calorie intake, for example. Okay, and what else? You can give a color also. For example, I'm just going to say that we have some color. Okay, right now I'm just going to assume that we have one color, or we have some array of colors, different type of things. But right now, let's say we have a color. Okay, so I'm just going to say that the color of this chart would be this. Okay, color of this chart would be, suppose, yellow color, theme color. Now we have the theme color. What else do you need to provide? You need to provide one more thing, that is the x-axis. Okay, so for the x-axis requires two things. First of all, data for x-axis. So I'm just going to say that inside this, just create an object. First of all, you're going to provide the data for x-axis. So here itself, you can see we have data for x-axis. Okay, so here itself, you're just going to say that data. Okay, this is the data for x-axis. And now what's the label of x-axis? So you're just going to say that the label for, I'm sorry, the label for x-axis is, suppose you are just going to show here last 10 days, for example. Okay, similarly, scale type is what? So if you are mentioning a date, so for that you have to mention a scale type also. So if you are mentioning your date, so you have to mention it as a time. Okay, since the data in x-axis is dates. Okay, also date is in object format. You are sending data in object format. So to recognize that, you have to mention the scale type also. Now we have this. Now we have this. So simply you have to show it here. So here itself, you can simply say, first of all, let's talk about the x-axis. So inside the x-axis, you can see this is the object. Let's remove this. Now let's say that this is the ID is the day. Okay, then you can say data is actually taken from data s1. Okay, data s1 is what? Data s1 is this. Inside this, I have saved my data. Okay, I have saved my data. Now we have data s1. Guys, do one more thing. Just say that data s1 is here. If data s1 is here, then only show the data. That means if chart is empty, don't show the data. So you just say data s1 and here you are suppose going to show the data. Okay, so here itself you are saying that x-axis has this data. Let's see how it looks. So right now, guys, if I just reload, so you can see do not match series 6 items. Okay, one more thing, we have to fix the data also, because according to that you will be getting it. Okay, so we have suppose x-axis data, then we also have to get the scale type, we also have to get the label of x-axis. Okay, then we have to say that our date would be complete date, that means exact date and time, but from that I just want to get the day, current day, 28, 27, 26, just current day. So we are just going to show current day from the complete object. Okay, now let's talk about the series. So series would be again having a few things. It would be having data label color. Okay, so it would be having data label color. Okay, that's it. So now you would see, if I reload, you can see two local string cannot read properties of two local string. Where is it? So here you are sending the data, initially it's null, right? Just a minute. I have simply said that first of all, let's print this. Okay, I'm just going to print this. So console.log, and let's try to print this, whatever we are setting here. Let's print this. Okay, I'm just printing this. And right now, if I just remove this, there's actually some problem with the chart. Let's see how it works. So if I inspect console, you can actually see we are getting something. Okay, so the problem here is you can see data is undefined. Okay, why data is undefined? Let's see. Okay, so that's how you figure things out. So here itself you are saying that the data, okay, so the name is correct, incorrect, so it's value. Okay, so now you would see that I'm getting the data completely. Okay, now it's fine, so now I would just say that show the data. Fine. Right, guys, so now you would see that I am getting the complete chart. So you can see I'm getting the y-axis automatically, this generated automatically. Okay, this is for calories. And similarly, you can see x-axis looks like this. Okay, so you can see x-axis looks like the dates. Okay, you can see I'm getting all the dates which I have added. Along with that, I'm getting the data. So you can see this is the data. So I think this looks fine. Similarly, you would be adding a few more data. Okay, so right now this is S1. Suppose similarly, we are having 4 more graphs for 4 different types of data. Right now we don't have any others, so I'm just going to assume that same data showing 4 times. Okay, so let's say we have a division. Let's say class name as S1 close. So suppose this is S1. Okay, similarly we are going to say we have second section, third section, fourth section. Okay, right. So suppose we have 4 sections for 4 different kind of graphs. So you can see we have 4 sections. let's say this is for S2, this for S3, this for S4. Okay, and at the end I'm also going to have one button, that is the edit button. So I'll just say at the end I'm going to show one edit button also, that is at the bottom I want to show an edit button. On clicking that, a pop-up will open up for editing the details for that day or previous day. Okay, here I'm showing the report. If I click on this button, I would open a pop-up for showing the data for that day, okay, or previous day, just specific for the day. Okay, so here itself I'm just going to say that I want to call a button. Okay, so I have taken the button from React icons. You can take the same button from React icons. Okay, so now inside this I'm simply going to say that if we talk about the button, inside the button I'm just going to show an icon which is an edit icon. Okay, this is the edit icon, and if you click on the edit icon, I just want to open a pop-up. Okay, so for opening a pop-up I'm just going to create a hook for this pop-up. So you'll just say that we have a hook for this pop-up. Okay, I'll just say set show calorie intake pop-up, set show calorie intake pop-up. If we are on the calorie intake page, we are going to show calorie intake pop-up. If we are on some other page, we are going to show some other page pop-up. Right now we have assumed that we are calorie intake. Okay, we have the calorie intake pop-up. So inside this, we are simply going to say on click set show calorie intake pop-up. If suppose this is the page for some other report, this would change later on. We'll change that later on, but right now I'm just assuming that this is only for calorie intake. This button is only for calorie intake, right? So now it's simply said that show this pop-up. Okay, for showing this pop-up, I would just say that if you want to show this pop-up, if show calorie intake pop-up is here, then you are simply going to call that pop-up. Okay, you are simply going to call that pop-up. So I'm simply calling that pop-up. So right now if I just reload this first of all, so you can see I'm getting the edit button, you can see I'm getting the calorie intake pop-up. Okay, and I have to fix the graphs also. We'll fix the graphs also along with the CSS, but right now it looks fine. Okay, so let's talk about the CSS for this page. So I'll just go to report page, and in the report page I'll just say that S1, S2, S3 and S4 all would be taking 40% width. Okay, and since it's display flex wrap, so things would be like 1 2 3 4. Okay, because extra things would go in next line. So now you would see that we have the 4 charts. Now we have to fix the button. Okay, so we'll just say that the button is in extreme corner. I'll just say my edit button is in extreme corner, extreme bottom. So I'll just say that its position is fixed, bottom right, and it has some styling, yellow color styling, width and height. Okay, then I would just say that if I hover on this, I would simply say that if the color changes to black and text color would become yellow. Okay, so let's see. So you can see that this is the edit button. If I just click on this, actually if I first of all reload this, you can see initially you won't see the calorie intake pop-up. If I click on this, you can see we are getting the calorie intake pop-up. Now we have to design the calorie intake pop-up. Okay, but this page is done. Now let's go inside the calorie intake pop-up. So if I click on this, I'm inside the calorie intake pop-up. First of all, you have to say that from previous page we are sending a prop. Okay, we are sending a prop. So the type of prop is actually React display state action. Okay, this is for use state hook. Okay, so we have sent the hop we have sent the prop from that page. So I've simply defined the pop up type. Okay, that is the state type, and now I'm going to say that this specific component is going to take reference from this interface, take reference from this interface. Fine, now we are inside this interface. I'm going to say just call the hook which we have sent from that page. That means just call the property which we have sent from that page. That simply says what's the type of this property. For the type of this property, so it would simply look inside this. Inside this, it would try to find set show calorie intake pop-up. So it found the set show calorie intake pop-up. We have defined the type of this. That means it's a use state hook action. Okay, now we have this. So we have to create a close button. So similarly, I'm going to create a close button. So let's say we have a close button here for now. Okay, so we have, for example, a close button here along with an icon, close icon. So let me just import things. So we are going to use these things here. So you can see we have a few things. We have installed the date picker, but it still shows me error. I don't know why. I think there is some problem with this. So Okay, we are gonna use this anyways. So right now you can see that we have these much things and we are going to use these much things. We have popup.css also. So popup.css is this page. Everything is here, right? So we are using these two icons. One is the delete icon and one is the close icon. So let's talk about the close icon. So we created the close icon for this popup. So let's talk about this. So if I click on this, you can see I'm getting the close icon. If I click on this, it's gone. Click on this, it's gone. Now let's design the popup. Okay, so right now we have the pop-up. So we'll say how many times I'm going to say this, but we'll say that it has a class of pop-up out. Okay, pop-up out. Now inside this I'm going to show some data. Okay, so right now let's design the pop-up out. So here is the pop-up out design. I'll just say that the pop-up out would be again taking the full page space. Okay, full page space, and everything would be in center, and this would be the background color, this would be the index. Okay, right now you would see if I click on this, you can see I'm getting it like this, everything is in center. Okay, now inside this I have to design this component. Okay, so let's go inside this. Okay, here itself I'm going to create one box named as pop-up box. Okay, so this is common styling for each pop-up which we are going to create for reports. Fine, so pop-up box is here. So it would be taking, first of all, I'll just say that this button is actually inside this box. Okay, first thing. Now I would say that we have a date picker. Okay, so for example, the current selected day is the current date. Okay, so I'll just say that the current date is the current selected date for the date picker. Now you can go to React horizontal date picker and you would find the same things, just with some modification. I have done things here. Okay, so now I'm just going to call my date picker. I'll just say my date picker would be called from there, and I'm simply saying that the selected day would be called whenever I select any date. Okay, so for that I would just paste the function which I get from React horizontal date picker. Okay, this is the function which I get in the npm website for that. Okay, so this is the function, and whenever I click on any date I would just get that specific date, and according to that I would get the data according to that. But I now assume that I've just got the date, right? So now we have selected the, first of all, default date would be this. By default current date would be selected. Now it would give you whatever date you want. If you click on 27 September, it would simply print 27 September. Okay, that's it. And now you have to change the color, so you can change any color you want. I've simply changed it to my normal color, but I would just say that do one thing. You can actually create a constant for that color also. You can create a constant for that color also if you want, but right now let's paste the color here itself. Okay, and I'm just going to say that this is the color which we are referring to. Okay, so color. Okay, actually it's inside the parenthesis. Fine. So now if I show you the page, so you can see it looks like this. Okay, you can see it looks like this, and if I click on this it's selected, if I click on this it's selected, and like that. So if I first of all reload this, I think I have to style it more. So you can see it looks like this, but I have to style it perfectly. Okay, so we'll style that also. Now we have the date picker. Okay, we have the date picker. What else you have to show? You have to show a text field from MUI. So how am I getting this text field? How am I getting this text field? So for that you have to simply go to Material UI website. Since initially we installed the Material UI package, else you don't need anything. So you can simply close this, simply go to installation part, and I think we need to simply go to the let's click on instructions. So here itself you get the components. Inside this you can see we have different kind of things. I'll first of all show you the text field. So inside this you can see we get the text field, and I am actually using this outline one. So you can check out the text fields and whatever field you want to use, or you can copy my style. I would provide the complete source code. Okay, for this you don't need anything to install. You can see everything is fine. You don't need to anything, you don't need anything to install. You just need to install this Material UI which I told you initially. Okay, just that part you have to install. That's everything which we need. Okay, now we have the text icon. Similarly I got some button from the button feed. So you can see similarly I have the button. So you can see similarly I have the buttons. So I'm actually using these kind of buttons. Okay, these kind of buttons with the color of warning. Okay, fine. So I have everything, so we're gonna use it. So similarly I have pasted the text field. Okay, text field is having this style. Okay, from Material UI. Label is this, so food item name, and variant is outlined, and I've just given this color as warning. Warning is actually the yellowish color, that's why. Okay, so don't take it as a wrong color, it's a yellowish color matching with our theme, that's why. Okay, so yes, similarly we are going to have one more text field, that is for the this. Okay, and I think we would need one more thing, that is here itself. We have different kind of inputs: data display, feedback, navigation, layout, utils. I think we also need to show the time also. Okay, so for showing the time, guys, I can do one thing. I would just first of all search for time feed. Okay, so I'll just type MUI time input time picker component. Yes, this is it. So you can see this is for the time picking. If you want to pick any time, this is the time picker component, right? So for that, you can see we have the time picker component. We have to just pick that. Okay, so already Material UI is installed, but I think we need to install something, I guess. You can also pick different things, like for example, this is a controlled picker. Okay, so if I select this, this is a controlled picker, and this is what? This is uncontrolled picker. The value of component can be controlled, uncontrolled. The value is controlled when its parenting manages by providing value prop and its own internal state. The state can be initialized using default value prop. Okay. Anyways, I would just stick with this, the basic one, basic time picker. Okay. But yeah, anyways, let's go with this because it's having more details. Okay, so we have the time picker. We're just going to paste it here. Okay, we have the time picker. I think I need to install something. Time picker is declared, but it cannot find module. Okay, so we have to install this module or its corresponding things. Okay, I think I need to install the installing part. Okay, I think Material UI is here, but for the date time picker, for the getting started, I think I need to, yes, you can see here itself, you are getting it. Okay, so just install both of these because I think we would need both of these, and we have also installed the styling. We don't need the styling, we already installed it as using emotion. If you want to use style components, yes, we only need to install this part, that's it. So let's install this. First thing is this, and second thing, I think I also need to install day.js, maybe. Okay, let's see. So pages, fine. So we have installed that. You can see now the error is gone from time picker also. Now let's use the time picker. It's very easy to use. Now you can simply go to time components, and here you can explore a bit more. So you would get a lot more things here. Time clock, you can select the clock also. I think time clock looks a bit more cool, right? So let's try to use the time clock, or also we have the digital clock also. So if you want to use the digital clock, that's also good. I don't know why I'm wasting time on this, but it looks cool. So let's go to time clock. It looks cool. Okay, so now I'll just say that since we are using some controlled clock, for example, so controlled clock, I'll just say that we are going to use this. Okay, so let's say we have time control. Okay, time clock. Now we're going to say that we just want to use it inside our box. What's the problem? We don't have the value. Okay, so here itself you can see we have the value. Okay, so let's say we are selecting this time. What else? It requires day.js, cannot find module day.js. Okay, fine. So since you are using day.js, just import day.js also. Hopefully it works. I'm not really sure if it would work. I haven't used it personally. I think now it must work. So let's go to this and can see cannot find the date time because localization wrap your component localization provider. Okay, you have to add one more thing, that is localization provider. Okay, you have to add the localization provider also. We have bunch of things here, so we can't skip these. Okay, suppose we have this. Now what else do you need? You have to import the localization provider. Okay, so localization provider is taken from this. So let's come back and I'll say that localization provider is also here. भाई अब चल जा. So you are not getting adapter digits is not defined. Why it's not defined? Because you haven't imported it. Okay, just import this also. Actually, you had to import everything, but I was a bit lazy. So now you can see, yes, we are getting this clock also. You can add some kind of customization. For example, if you just see that, okay, we don't have that much customization for this, but maybe the color for that is not available here. So if you want to change the color, definitely you have to look for it. Right now, let's consider this only. Okay, so I think we have the color property. Let's try to use the color property. If it works, then that's great. No, it does not have the color property. It is what it is. We don't have the color property. If I try to reload this, it does not have it. Anyways, I think this much is fine for the time clock. If you want to change it, definitely you can. So this is the time clock. Now we have got the time clock. At the end, you're just going to show a button. Okay, again, this button is taken from MUI. This is the same button and variant is this and warning is this. Okay, so this is again the last button. So you can see if I just reload, we are not getting the button here. Where is exactly the button? Anyways, we'll see that once we add the styling. Okay, after that we are going to add a HR line, horizontal line, so that we have some spacing. After that we are going to show some items. Okay, so I'll just say that for now we are just assuming that we have these items for that day. For example, right now it's 8:57, but before 8:57 for the day I might have eaten some things. Maybe accidentally I've added some data, so I'll just delete that data. For deleting the data, I would just look at that card and I would just click on the delete button. Similarly, I have some previous data for the specific day, so this is only for the specific day. Okay, I think this is it. Now let's see. So reload, and now let's try to design it. Okay, now we'll try to design it, and I'll just say that this component is also inside a division. Okay, let's say it has a class name of time box. Okay, hopefully it works. Yes, I think this is fine. And now let's try to style this. But yeah, now let's try to style this. So what we will do is let's go to popup.css, and I think I have given the proper names here. Yes, everything is fine. So let's go to popup.css and let's give it some styles. So first of all, we have the pop-up box. I've simply said its position is relative and everything is in center. Position is relative because inside this I'm going to show the close button. So the close button has position absolute, so you have to make the outer one relative. Okay, so you can see that the width is 500 and according to that I've given some padding. So you can see it looks like this. And what you can do is actually, guys, instead of making things in center, actually I think this because justify content. Let's see. Okay, no, it's actually because align items. So you would see that we have the align items and we have to fix the time box also. Okay, so I'll just say inside the pop-up box, if you are talking about the time box, it's having too much size. So I'll just say that suppose its width is only uh actually I'll just say that its height is only suppose 50 pixel. Let's see. So you can see according to that width and height is defined. Okay, most probably the size is not, I'm not sure about the size, so that's why I'm not able to set the size. Let's do one thing. We'll say that let's skip this part. I'll just say that if there is overflow, I would just say that scroll is there. Now I think scroll must work. So you can see I got the scroll bar. This looks fine. So you can see if there is overflow, can see that this is a scroll bar, and here itself you can mention the height also. So you would say that suppose the height is maximum, you would say suppose 80%. You can say that the maximum height is 80%. Okay, okay, I'm sorry. Max height is 80%. So you would see, yeah, now it looks fine. Now it looks fine. So I'll again make it center. Now it would automatically be in center. So yes, this pop-up looks fine. So now let's dial the inner things. Okay. So let's talk about the HR line. So HR line looks like this. Okay, horizontal line. Now the items, I want every item to be in column. And now each item would be spaced between. Inside each item, we have the H3 tag for the text. Now we also have a button inside the items, that is for the delete button. Okay. Now we also have the close button. Okay, so the close button is again having this style and it's in the top of this. So you can see I have the close button also. Okay, fine. Actually guys, you can do one more thing, that is if you don't find this good, you can actually add this close button at the top, or you can give some spacing from here itself. You can say from top it's 10, left right it's 10. Fine, so we have the pop-up also. Okay, now let's close this. So you can see this pop-up works perfectly, and this is a kind of pop-up which you can create on your own. It's fun to use, and a lot of people actually face problems inside this. Okay, so we created this section today, and I think time is up for now. So what we'll do is, so we have covered almost every part of the front end, and this was what, day 3. Okay, so from day 4, would be the complete backend part, and hopefully we would complete the complete backend part. I'm not going to follow the complete login sign up authentication, that means the complete part, auth token, refresh token. It would take a lot time. From that, for that you can actually take reference from my different series which I have taken before, that is Node 15 GFG, or you can check out the blog application. Here I have used the backend with the same login sign up logic. We'll use that same logic. So you can check out those videos also, my previous project, that is MERN 3x playlist, as well as you can check out the Node 15 GFG for the backend logic. Okay, so from tomorrow we are going to start with the backend. I think this is it for the front end part, and if I need anything else I'll add that. Okay, but this is only the basic things which we require for the front end part. Okay, so similarly you would get different kind of reports for steps would be different kind of things would be different. Okay, but right now I would just assume that this is the thing. Okay, so it looks fine, and if you find some of the style for this, definitely please tell me. Okay, but I think this is fine. Okay, this is fine. Right, so that's it for today guys. I hope you understood this video. I will see you in the next one. Till then, have a good day. Bye bye.